Welcome back to the deep dive. We're all swimming in information these days, aren't we? And sometimes it feels like our own feelings, our own internal states are just as overwhelming.
Absolutely. It's easy to get lost in the noise, both external and internal.
So today, we want to bring some, let's say, precision to that. We're doing a deep dive into how we talk about feelings, specifically how we communicate intensity.
Right. And we're going to tackle one of the biggest culprits for, fuzzy emotional language.
You mean the word very?
Exactly. That little word we lean on so much. It often kind of flattens things out, doesn't it?
It really does. It's like turning the volume up without adjusting the EQ. You just get louder noise.
That's a great way to put it. It's like a linguistic gray filter, as you mentioned earlier in our prep. It hides the vibrancy underneath.
So our mission today is about getting that vibrancy back, gaining some high fidelity in how we talk about emotions.
And we've got some fascinating source material to help us do that. It's based on a linguistic comparison, really digging into how different words capture emotional extremes.
And the comparison comes from a real-world scenario, right?
Yes, that's what makes it so powerful. It's centered around a trip to Venice, Italy. Two friends, let's call them Lucy and Jack, went together, same place, same time.
But crucially, very different experiences. That's the core of it, isn't it?
Precisely. It sets up this perfect natural experiment. Same stimulus menace, but wildly different subjective responses.
So Lucy, she had a good time.
Oh, Lucy loved it. She was all about the adventure, the discovery, found it, fascinating.
And Jack?
Jack, not so much. For him, the whole environment was difficult, very negative reaction.
Which is perfect for us because that contrast lets us map the whole spectrum, doesn't it? From intense joy and wonder right down to, maybe fear and misery.
Exactly. The source material uses the specific adjectives they chose to describe their feelings. And by comparing the sort of basic words with the more intense synonyms, we see these completely different emotional worlds emerge.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll see how ditching very and grabbing a more precise, intense word doesn't just pump up the volume. It changes the quality, the whole feeling of what's being described.
All right, so let's start with Lucy. Before we get to the high-intensity stuff, her initial description sounded, pretty normal, right? Like how most of us might talk about a trip we enjoyed.
Very relatable. The source mentioned she used 5 key adjectives initially. Excited, surprised, confused, interested, and happy.
The everyday words. You're looking forward to a holiday, you're excited, you see something unexpected, you're surprised, something makes you think, you're interested. Standard stuff.
Exactly. These are what linguists sometimes call gradable adjectives. They exist on a scale. You can be a little happy, quite happy, very happy.
And that's where very comes creeping in. Her original telling, according to the source, used it a lot. Very excited, very surprised, very happy.
Right, and that's the crux of the issue we're exploring. Very tries to signal magnitude, tries to push the feeling up that scale we mentioned.
But it's a bit blunt, isn't it? Like you said earlier, it just turns up the volume. Very happy tells me the level of happiness is high, but what kind of happy?
Precisely. It lacks nuance. Is it calm contentment? Is it bubbling excitement? Is it profound relief? Very happy doesn't specify. It just signals quantity, not quality.
So the analysis in our source material really hammers this point home. Very is often insufficient for conveying the depth, the specific flavor of an intense emotion.
Yeah, it misses the why and the how of the feeling. And this relates to that concept of gradability. Those base words are gradable. Happy sits on a spectrum.
Okay.
But many of the stronger synonyms will look at function differently. They often act more like absolute adjectives. They already contain the intensity.
Can you give an example?
Sure, think about very tired versus exhausted. Very tired. That's gradable. You've dialed up tired, but exhausted. That word implies a state of near total depletion. It's inherently intense. You wouldn't really say very exhausted. It sounds redundant.
I see. So the strong word itself carries the intensity. You don't need very.
Exactly. It packs both the meaning and the magnitude into one efficient unit. It's more direct.
Which is better for communication, right? Especially if the stakes are high. Why make your listener do the extra work of figuring out how very is?
Right. It's about linguistic and cognitive efficiency. A single, precise, powerful word delivers the message instantly and clearly. Less ambiguity, more impact.
Okay, so this sets the stage. We see the baseline, we see the problem with relying only on very.
And now we can see what happens when Lucy ditches very and uses those more potent synonyms. Her story immediately gets richer, more resonant.
It goes from a simple report to a real experience.
Exactly. You feel the emotional journey more acutely.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's track Lucy's positive journey using these stronger words.
So let's start at the beginning. The anticipation. Lucy's baseline was, we wanted to go on a trip to Venice, so I was very excited. Standard holiday planning buzz.
Okay, pretty normal. But the intensified version.
Thrilled. I was thrilled.
Thrilled. Okay, that feels different already. It's got more energy than just excited.
It does, doesn't it? Excited is looking forward to something. Thrilled often suggests a more intense, almost physical sensation of joyful anticipation. Think of like a shiver of delight.
Yeah, like you can almost feel it. Excitement can be mental, planning, logistics. Thrilled feels more visceral.
That's a good word for it, visceral. It implies a high level of positive arousal about the experience itself, not just the fact of going. It sets her emotional starting point much higher.
So not just looking forward to it, but genuinely buzzing with positive energy about what Venice is.
Precisely. It signals this was likely to be a peak experience for her, right from the outset.
Okay, so she arrives thrilled, and then Venice hits her. The baseline was, when we arrived, I was very surprised because the city was on water.
And the upgrade. Astonished. I was astonished.
Astonished. That's a strong word. Much stronger than just surprised.
It carries a different weight, doesn't it? Surprise can be fleeting. Oh. Astonishment implies being struck, almost dumbfounded. There's a cognitive element. Your brain is really having to process something unexpected on a grand scale.
Like seeing a whole city built on water. That's not just a minor deviation. It challenges your basic ideas about how cities work.
Exactly. The source material highlights this intellectual shock. It's not just, oh, that's different. It's, wow, how is this even possible? It forces a moment of profound wonder.
So is it fair to say astonished implies the surprise is so big it actually makes you stop and think, maybe even reassess?
I think that's a key part of it. The etymology connects to being stunned, like being struck by thunder. It suggests a powerful, almost overwhelming impact. You have to pause and grapple with it.
So if you found an unexpected $20 bill, you'd be surprised, maybe pleased. You wouldn't be astonished.
Exactly. The trigger needs to match the intensity. A city on water. That warrants astonishment. It's a high-impact visual and conceptual input.
Got it. So this astonishment, this how does this work feeling leads her to the next point. She was initially very confused about the boats being used for transport.
Which becomes puzzled. I was puzzled.
Puzzled. Okay, how is that different from confused? They seem quite similar.
They are related, but there's a subtle distinction the source points out. Confusion can just be a state of not understanding, maybe feeling a bit lost or frustrated.
Okay.
Puzzlement, though, often implies a more active mental state. You're confused, yes, but you're also intrigued. You're trying to figure it out, like working on a puzzle. There's an element of curiosity mixed in.
Ah, so it's less about being stuck and more about being engaged by the strangeness. Like, this is odd. How did they manage deliveries by boat?
Exactly that. It frames the confusion not as a negative roadblock, but as an interesting question to explore. It keeps her in that positive, curious mindset. She's not shutting down. She's leaning in.
Which connects directly to her interest in the boats. The baseline was very interested in them.
And the intensified version is fascinated by. She was fascinated by it.
Fascinated. That feels much deeper than just interested.
Absolutely. Interest might mean you notice something. Pay brief attention. Fascination implies being completely captivated, absorbed, you're drawn in, maybe losing track of other things.
Like you're zooming in on that one thing. If she was just interested, she might watch a gondola go by. If she's fascinated, she's maybe watching how they navigate tight corners, how goods are loaded, the whole system.
Right. It suggests a deep, consuming focus. Her attention is fully captured by the uniqueness and complexity of Venice's water transport. That level of engagement is crucial to why she enjoyed the trip so much. It wasn't just passive observation, it was active absorption.
It really highlights how her curiosity is driving the positive experience.
It is. And this whole journey from thrilled anticipation through astonished wonder and puzzled curiosity to fascinated absorption leads to her overall feeling about the trip. The baseline was, it was a lovely trip and I was very happy.
And the intensified summary.
Delighted. She was delighted.
Delighted. It sounds brighter than happy, more specific.
It often implies a specific kind of happiness, usually a response to something turning out particularly well or receiving great pleasure from an experience. Happy can be a general state. Delighted often ties back to the satisfaction of expectations being met or exceeded.
So it's the perfect word to cap off her journey. She was thrilled to go. The experience delivered astonishing sights and fascinating details, so the end result is delight.
Precisely. It confirms the success of the whole emotional arc.
So looking at Lucy's 5 intense words, thrilled, astonished, puzzled, fascinated, delighted, it really maps out a journey of positive engagement, curiosity, and ultimately joyful discovery.
What's fascinating here is, how those specific words create that narrative arc. It's not just a list of feelings, it's a progression. Using the stronger words gives us that clear roadmap of her internal experience.
Okay, that's Lucy's ascent into delight.
Yeah.
Now, we need to brace ourselves for the other side of the coin, Jack's experience.
Yes, a very different journey.
So Jack, the source gives us crucial context. He doesn't like swimming, doesn't like the sea, so sending him to Venice.
Yeah, it's like sending someone with severe claustrophobia into a submarine. The environment itself becomes a massive trigger for his pre-existing anxieties.
And his narrative, using these intense adjectives, really tracks the downward spiral, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a cascade, moving from his internal fear outwards into, conflict and complete shutdown.
Let's start with his core feeling upon arrival, baseline. I don't like swimming. I was very scared.
Which intensifies to terrified. I was terrified.
Terrified. That immediately changes everything. Scared allows for maybe functioning cautiously. Terrified sounds paralyzing.
And that's exactly the impact it had, according to the source. It explains his key behavior. I didn't want to go out of my hotel. Terror shuts you down.
Right. It's not just nervousness. It's a profound sense of threat. Being surrounded by water, for someone with that phobia, would feel like being trapped in danger.
It triggers a primal survival level response. All possibility of curiosity or enjoyment is just switched off. The only goal is perceived safety, which in his case meant isolation.
And linguistically terrified feels like one of those absolute words you mentioned. You can't really be a bit terrified.
Exactly. It signifies the upper limit of fear. It's a state of panic, of being overwhelmed. Adding very would be redundant and frankly wouldn't capture the quality of that paralyzing dread.
So this terror leads to him staying in the hotel. And his next feeling, baseline, I felt very sad.
Becomes miserable. I felt miserable.
Miserable. That feels heavier than sad. Prolonged.
Yes, duration and depth are key distinctions here. Sadness can be a temporary reaction. Misery suggests a more enduring state of deep unhappiness, often tinged with helplessness or self-pity.
It sounds like a condition rather than just a mood. He's trapped by his fear, isolated, probably feeling guilty about ruining the trip. That sounds like a recipe for misery.
It really does. It's not just disappointment. It's sustained suffering fueled by the constant presence of the trigger, the water, and the social consequences of his fear.
And those social consequences definitely surface. His friend, understandably, wasn't happy. The friend wanted to explore. Jack refused. Baseline. He, the friend, was very angry.
Intensified to furious. He was furious.
Oof. Furious. That ramps things up considerably. Anger can be contained, maybe discussed. Fury sounds explosive.
It implies a much higher intensity, often bordering on rage. It signals that the situation has moved beyond discussion into open conflict. Think about the friend's perspective. They're in Venice, a dream destination for many, and their companion refuses to leave the hotel. The frustration would be immense.
Yeah, you can almost hear the argument. Why won't you come out? We're here to have fun. That level of anger, that fury, shows the significant emotional cost this situation inflicted on the relationship too.
Absolutely. It wasn't just Jack suffering internally. His state created external conflict. Furious's captures the high emotional stakes and the likely breakdown in communication. It's hostility, not just displeasure.
Okay, so we have terror, misery, fury. It sounds emotionally draining just talking about it.
And that's reflected in Jack's state when he finally got home. Baseline. I was very tired, so I went to bed.
Becomes exhausted. I was exhausted.
Exhausted. Again, this feels like more than just needing a nap after a flight.
Right. Tired is physical fatigue, maybe jet lag. Exhausted suggests a deeper, more total depletion, physical and mental.
Exactly. The source implies this wasn't just travel fatigue. It was the result of sustained high stress, battling intense fear, dealing with misery, navigating fury from his friend. That's emotionally and psychologically draining.
It's the kind of wiped out feeling you get after a major ordeal, isn't it?
Precisely. It's the body and mind shutting down after being in overdrive due to prolonged negative emotional states. Coffee won't fix exhaustion like this. It signals a need for real recovery.
And finally, his overall summary of the trip, baseline. It was a very bad
He
trip.
intensified to terrible. It was a terrible trip.
Terrible, that's the final nail in the coffin, isn't it? It leaves no room for ambiguity.
None at all. Bad can be relative bad weather, bad food. Terrible signals a comprehensive failure, something causing significant distress or suffering. It's a definitive, damning judgment.
You wouldn't call a slightly disappointing movie terrible, usually. You save terrible for things that are genuinely awful on multiple levels.
Right. It's reserved for experiences that are catastrophic or deeply unpleasant. It perfectly encapsulates the complete failure of the trip from Jack's perspective.
The Jack sequence. Terrified, miserable, furious, exhausted, terrible.
Yeah.
It's a stark contrast to Lucy's thrilled, astonished, puzzled, fascinated, delighted.
It truly is. And again, the intense words don't just amplify the negativity, they make his reactions and behavior completely understandable within the context of his phobia. They provide the why.
It's incredible how those 10 specific synonyms create two such vivid, opposing narratives from the exact same starting point, a trip to Venice. Okay, let's pull back and look at the big picture here. We've got Lucy's delightful journey and Jack's terrible ordeal side by side.
And the difference really hinges on those specific high-intensity adjectives. Let's just list them again quickly for clarity.
Good idea. For Lucy's positive, engaged experience, excited became thrilled.
Surprised became astonished.
Confused became puzzled.
Interested became fascinated.
And happy became delighted.
Right. And then for Jack's negative, distressed experience, scared became terrified.
Sad became miserable.
His friends angry became furious.
Tired became exhausted.
And bad became terrible.
Looking at those pairs, the core takeaway for anyone listening becomes really clear, doesn't it?
I think so. The intensified word is just more efficient. It's a shortcut to deeper meaning. It respects the listener because it delivers more information more precisely in fewer words.
Let's revisit that technical point about gradability and absolutes.
Yeah.
That seems key here.
It really is. The base words happy, tired, angry are gradable. You can modify them with very because they exist on a scale.
But the intense ones delighted, exhausted, furious.
Many of them function as absolutes or near absolutes. They already represent the peak, the limit of that emotional scale. Furious implies maximum anger. Exhausted implies maximum tiredness.
So adding very is often redundant. Very furious is like saying very maximum anger.
Exactly. It doesn't add much and it sounds a bit clunky. The power is already packed into the single word. Furious, exhausted, terrified.
So using the stronger synonym communicates the feeling and its intensity simultaneously.
Right. It saves cognitive effort for both the speaker and the listener. You get the whole picture, the what and the how much in one go. It's high-fidelity communication.
And these aren't just random synonyms. They have specific nuances, right? We saw how astonished creton implies that cognitive impact.
While terrified implies that threat response. They aren't interchangeable just because they're both intense. You choose the one whose specific flavor matches the situation.
Which has huge implications beyond just telling travel stories. Think about work, about professional communication.
Oh, absolutely. Precision matters hugely there. Imagine reporting a project issue. Saying it's very bad is vague. What does that mean? How bad is very?
Right. But if you say the budget situation is terrible or a risk has become critical,
that instantly communicates the severity and the need for urgent action. It cuts through the ambiguity. The right intense word conveys scope and consequence immediately.
Or in feedback, like a performance review. Saying someone is very confused might suggest they just need basic help.
But saying they seem puzzled by a complex process suggests they're actually engaging with it, trying to figure it out, which is a different scenario entirely. It changes how you might support them.
Even personally, talking about well-being. I'm very tired might get you sympathy.
But saying I'm completely exhausted signals a potentially more serious state of burnout that needs proper attention, not just an early night. The language choice frames the problem differently.
So what does this all mean? For you listening, it really boils down to choosing your words carefully to reflect the reality of your experience.
It does. When we just default to very, we might actually be simplifying our own reality. We're using a blunt instrument when we could be using a precision tool.
Are we losing something by not differentiating? If everything intensely surprising is just very surprising, Do we lose the ability to recognize true astonishment when it happens?
That's a really profound question the source material raises. Does our limited vocabulary actually dull our perception? If we don't have the word for astonished readily available, do we fail to fully register or appreciate that specific kind of wonder?
It suggests that the language we use doesn't just describe our feelings. It might actually help shape them, or at least shape how we understand and process them.
Exactly. By building a richer emotional vocabulary, using words like thrilled, astonished, fascinated, delighted, terrified, miserable, furious, exhausted, terrible, we give ourselves better tools to understand ourselves and communicate that understanding clearly.
It's like becoming more articulate about your own inner world.
And that's a valuable skill in any context. #tag outro.
So we've seen Venice through two completely different lenses. Lucy's delight, Jack's terror. Same city, vastly different realities.
And those 20 adjectives were the key to unlocking and defining that huge gap between their subjective experiences. They moved the descriptions from vague feelings to vivid, specific emotional states.
The main insight, the nugget to take away from this deep dive, is that you have these powerful words available. You don't have to settle for the beige world of very precise language turns a simple report into a compelling story.
So here's a challenge for you, the listener. Over the next week, try to catch yourself when you feel a strong emotion. Before you reach for very, pause. Ask yourself, is there a better, more precise word? Am I just interested or am I fascinated? Am I just angry or am I genuinely furious? Am I tired or am I exhausted?
Try to pinpoint that exact feeling. Use the more intense specific word if it fits. Notice how it feels to use it and maybe how others react.
Because as Lucy and Jack's stories show us, the same objective reality can create profoundly different internal worlds. Language is our primary tool for breaking that gap, for sharing our unique perspective.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If relying on very can obscure the difference between delight and terror in a travel story, what other important nuances in our lives, in our work, our relationships, our own self-understanding are we failing to grasp simply because we haven't chosen the right word?
Something to consider. Until next time, keep deep diving.